Tell us a little bit about Liverpool in the 1950s.
Well, what I can remember about Liverpool in the 50s was, well, I was born in 47 and started school in 52 when I was 5. Of course, we don't know anything different. We think that's the way life was, but I do remember it wasn't, it was cold. Lots of bomb sites, even where we lived I lived out in Broadway, and there was even bomb sites there, so I remember we used to play on them. Yeah, I remember the cold, I remember not being much. When you look back now, there wasn't much going on, but I think the communities were there, and we used to go into where we lived. A lot of people from Scotland Road had moved out to where we lived out in Club Moor, Broadway, and I think the things we remember most about the 50s was actually going into town on the bus or the tram. That was the great thing. Or going down to Paddy's Market and Scotland Road. And when we were kids, we used to go down at Christmas, and we used to go get a Christmas tree from Paddy's Market or whatever it is. And we used to get this giant Christmas tree with my brothers and get it on the back of the 17D and come home. This massive tree, and then it wouldn't fit in the house, so we saw the top off and, make it fit to the house. But it was just basic stuff. You love Christmas, you love going to town, you love going to the pier head, the art galleries, wandering around town, down to the landing stage, things like that. But I remember there being big families who'd come from Scotland Road, who'd moved out into these, into the suburbs like, West Derby, Broadway and wherever. And generally, just a good community. We all belonged to the one church, which is, in our case, was St Matthew's, and just a simple life. And we never realised what was round the corner in the 60s. We thought that's the way life was and it was never going to change, but little did we realise what was to come.
Can you tell us a little bit about the 60s and Liverpool and what was to come?
Well, what I remember, in the 60s, it actually wasn't, to actually be in the 60s was not as romantic as people look back and think how great it was in the 60s, because really times were still hard from the 50s. 50s were very austere times, and we thought that was going to continue. And then all of a sudden, we had Elvis, we had skiffle groups, and I was in a skiffle group when I was 11, but that's another story. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, we had all these great music, maybe from America, Bobby V and Elvis and all that, and then right out of the blue, the 4 lads who shook the world, the Beatles arrived. And I think that we still feel that today from the Beatles came, and it was absolutely fantastic. We couldn't believe that we just lived in Liverpool, a normal town, that was our Liverpool, and the Beatles were from the city that we lived in, and that just changed the world, and they were absolutely fabulous. And then from then all came the Merseybeat era, and Everton were brilliant in the 60s. Everton won the league in 63, the greatest cup final of all time in 66, that was all part of it. Fabulous players, won the league in 1970, so Everton were bouncing, Merseybeat was bouncing, styles changed, and probably everybody looked at Liverpool as the place to be, even more than London or anywhere else. And it was completely different from the 50s, and we loved every minute of the 60s. It was absolutely fabulous, and you still look back on it today. But it wasn't all tinsely Hollywood style. It wasn't. Times were still hard, but through all that music and a change of atmosphere, it was fabulous to be part of. That's all I can